What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dark Souls 3 walkthrough. So today it is time for us to wrap up the base game of Dark Souls 3. We are going to fight the final boss. It's been a grand journey, but also a long time coming. So to start this off, we're going to give the Firekeeper finally the eyes of the Firekeeper. This is going to unlock actually two of the possible 4 endings. So we got these eyes in the other version of Firelink Shrine after fighting Champion Gundyr some time ago. The reason why I did not give them to her already is because it changes the music and the overall vibe of Firelink Shrine.
Are these eyes? How gracious of thee, Ashen One, the very things we Firekeepers have been missing.
So now,
mayst thou thy peace discover.
You notice the music has changed and all of that. So what we're going to do now is go fight the Soul of Cinder. So for that, we are going to travel to the Flameless Shrine. And this is the area that we unlocked after defeating the Twin Princes. So we're warped here to the Kiln of the First Flame. Looks very familiar to Firelink Shrine. What we want to do now is go outside. And here we are. We can warp at this bonfire. And if you take a look around, I mean, you'll notice this looks very reminiscent of the Dread Keep. My take is that this is kind of takes place in the same timeline as the Dread Keep, kind of at the end of all time here. So you notice everything is kind of collapsed in on itself. All of the kingdoms that have risen and fallen in years past are represented there. So you need to warp at this bonfire. And if you did not access the Ring City through the end of the first DLC in Ariandel, this is the bonfire that you would use to warp to the Ring City DLC if you only want to play that one and not the Ariandel DLC. So what we're going to do is make our way up here. You'll note we do have summons available to us. You can summon Londor Pale Shade if you've been following that quest. All the way up here, you can summon Yuria, which of course requires following that quest. And over here, you see we have the Eclipse. Very symbolic and reminiscent of the Dark Sign. So over here is our final boss. This is the Soul of Cinder. And he is the culmination of all previous Lords of Cinder. He has lots of different movesets. He will transform. There's an audio cue here that you'll notice when he's about to transform. He can transform into like a pyromancer. He can transform into a mage. In his second phase, he'll be using. He can use lightning attacks. He cannot be parried, at least not to my knowledge. I've never been able to parry him. You see, he's quite aggressive. So now that we've got his HP down a bit, he's probably going to transition into a different phase pretty soon, I would imagine. That's the noise you hear. So he's now in a different phase, so he has access to new moves. And as I said, he's kind of the culmination of all of the Lords of Cinders of years past. So he, as such, has all the moves. So now he has miracles. And as I said, he can get sorceries, he can get pyromancies. He has phases where he just goes all physical. So he's got a bunch of different combinations of movesets that he can access. So I want to give him a chance to transition again, see if he gives us another moveset, just so I can show you guys. And I forgot to do this, but I actually want to equip the Covetous Silver Serpent Ring and the Shield of Want, because I want the extra souls. There you go. He just transitioned. It looks like he's in mage mode now. going to see if I can sneak this on. I'm going to put on the Covetous Silver Serpent Ring +3. Took a shot because of it, but that's okay. Getting hit by Soul Spear. And whatever that is. See, he just transitioned again. So we got the Covetous Silver. I'm going to put on the Shield of Want if I can get it. Let's see if I can find it. So I want the extra souls because eventually we're going to need to pay off the Firekeeper. I'm going to cover all of the endings here in this episode. And that's going to require us paying off the Firekeeper to heal the Dark Sigils. So you've seen his Miracle phase, you've seen his Pyromancer phase, you've seen his Mage phase, and I'm getting poisoned. Not cool. So he's got quite the moveset. You see he's changed his weapon as well. See if I can get this poison healed as well. Thing is he's being really aggressive and not leaving me alone. It's got some nice gymnast moves there. Doing a nice little backhand spring. Gonna heal the poison. Now he's back into Mage. Alright, see if I can get the Shield of Want. There it is. Did I get it? Yeah, it's on. Alright, so I'm getting extra souls from that. I'm getting extra souls from the Serpent Ring. I get extra souls as well if I equip the Symbol of Avarice, but that's going to make me heavy roll, so I don't want to do that. I'll take the extra souls from the Serpent Ring and the Shield of Want. So now we're going to quit messing around here, and we'll take out the boss. He does have another phase after this. He has another complete health bar, actually, where he will use a lot of lightning magic. So you want to back away during this transition. He does do a fire AoE here. And the big thing in this phase is he has this combo where he can lock you into it, and then at the end he does a big explosion. This is the combo. And I'm locked into it. I can't move. At the end he does a fire explosion, and it does more than half my health if you get locked in the whole combo. My favorite part about this phase is the music. You hear that nod to Gwen's theme. Oh, so beautiful. It gives me goosebumps. So he's got a lot of lightning attacks. You see him doing Lightning Spear. He has a lightning move where he'll basically shoot a bunch of heat-seeking lightning spears at you. Let's see if he'll do that move so I can show it to you. That's just his regular lightning spear. I think this is the one where he, yeah, he throws it in the air, and then they're all going to come after you. So you got to dodge out of the way. So that's all the moves I want to show. You've seen his combo, his lightning moves. So I'm just going to go in and take him out. And that time I tried to get away from the combo, but didn't get away fast enough. Fortunately, after he does that combo, he doesn't pursue you. For some reason, he backs away. Because if he was aggressive and pursued you after that combo, he could pretty easily take you out. But he doesn't, fortunately. And he's not giving me a chance to back away and heal, unfortunately. There we go. All right, dodge this lightning spear here. Oh, he threw that one up, so I'm just going to take him out. There we go. Just like that. So if you've taken out the Nameless King, if you've taken out Sister Frida, Midir, Gale, this boss is considerably easier than that. So for our trouble, we get the Soul of the Lords. So now here, if you gave the eyes to the Firekeeper, you can interact with this to summon the Firekeeper and trigger that ending. If you interact with the bonfire, you're going to trigger a different ending. I'm going to go over the endings in just a second here. But first, I'm going to take off this. I got my souls already. Actually, I'm going to leave them on because I am going to need to farm souls. So never mind. We're actually, instead of triggering the ending right now, which I don't recommend triggering an ending right now before I go over everything, I am going to warp back to Firelink. And we are going to turn in the soul that we just got. Because this is required for, we get a spell from this that's required for the trophy. So let us have a look. We got the Soul of the Lords. Since the Lord Gwyn, the first Lord of Cinder, many exalted lords have linked the first flame, and it is their very souls that have manifested themselves as defender of the flames. Like we just talked about, it's kind of the combination. The soul of Cinder is basically the combination of all of the previous lords that have linked the flame in years past. Now we're going to turn this in. And we can get Sunlight Spear from this. Miracle of Gwyn, the first lord, hurls a Sunlight Spear. We saw him using that in a second phase, so let's go ahead and take advantage of that. Because you do need that spell for the trophy. And so what we're going to do now is if you want to get all of the endings, there are 3 trophies related to endings. You want to get them all in one playthrough, you're going to have to go ahead and set up a backup save that we're going to reload a few times to access all of the endings. Alternatively, if you don't want to, or for some reason cannot create a backup save, you're gonna have to get one of the trophy endings in this playthrough, and then you have to do 2 separate playthroughs, 2 separate other playthroughs to get the other trophy endings. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna quit out of the game. And if you're on PS5, which is what I'm playing this on, you can go to your settings here. And if you go to your save data and game app settings, you can go to your PS4. So here you can either load to a USB device, or if you have PS Plus, you can do a cloud save. So what you want to do now is you want to upload to your your USB device from console storage, and then what you'll do is you'll trigger one of the endings, come back, reload your save from your USB, trigger the next ending, come back, reload your save, and then trigger the final ending for the trophies if you want to do it all in one save. So for now, I'm going to cut to back to the game, and we're going to trigger our first ending. All right, so we got to go through this bonfire. I think I forgot to light the other bonfire. It takes us right outside the boss room. Yeah, we can light this bonfire right here. Get us a little bit closer. And so, a quick primer on the endings. As I said, if you give the eyes to the Firekeeper, you can trigger an ending here for a trophy by interacting with this sign. Alternatively, you can interact with the bonfire. So if you've done the steps required for Henri and Yuria's side quest, you'll know if you did or not based on the fact if you have 8 dark sigils in your inventory, you've done that whole side quest. You covered the whole thing as part of this guide. If you have those 8 dark sigils, interacting with the bonfire is going to trigger the Lord of Hollows ending. I think it's called the Usurpation of Fire is what the trophy's called. So if you have those 8 dark sigils, you're going to trigger that ending if you interact with the bonfire. If you don't have the dark sigils, so for example, if you did not do that whole quest, or if you go back to the Firekeeper after giving her the fire, what's it called? The Firekeeper soul that we got at the top of Firelink Tower. You give that to her. You can cleanse the dark sigils. You can heal the dark sigils. If you do that and interact with the bonfire, you're just going to get the base ending of linking the fire. And so we're going to cover both of those. First, we're going to trigger the Lord of Hollows, and then later on, we're gonna heal the dark sigils, and then come back and trigger the base ending as well. And then we're also going to cover the 2 endings that you can get through summoning the Firekeeper. First things first, we're going to do the Usurpation of Fire. This is the Lord of Hollows ending. Again, this is the ending that you trigger for interacting with this bonfire at the end of the game, having 8 dark sigils in your inventory from the side quest. So we're going to do that. Go ahead and link the first flame.
gracious Lord, make London whole.
All right, we got the trophy for Usurpation of Fire. And so what happened there is we became the Lord of Hollows. Instead of technically linking the first flame, we took the first flame ourselves and consumed it and became the Lord of Hollows. So the flame was not rekindled. And then I believe what the main lore implication there is that since we ourselves consumed it, it doesn't allow for someone else to come in later and link it, because you're normally, like in Dark Souls 1, your two options are either to link it or to let it fade. But if you let it fade, the way that the lore goes is that someone is just going to come later and link it anyways. But this technically makes it to where no one can come in behind you and link it. So it kind of ends the cycle, so to speak. So very, very interesting there. I am going to cover the other endings. After the end of the fourth ending, I will let the credits roll. But if you go ahead and cut out now, or if you watch the credits, get to the very end, you're going to have the opportunity to begin Journey 2. If you're going for Platinum Trophy, if you're going to do all of the farming for all of the covenants that's required for the spells and rings that you're going to need for Platinum, I would highly recommend not beginning Journey 2 right now. So hit no right here. Make sure you have no selected. Hit no if you're going to be doing all the farming if you want the Platinum Trophy. And then what happens is if when eventually we do want to go to New Game Plus, which we will eventually, you can activate that through the bonfire at Firelink Shrine. So for now, we're going to hit no. What this does is you just respawn right here at Firelink Shrine. So what I'm going to do now is reload the save, and then we're going to cover the next ending. All right, so now we are going to trigger the next ending. So we are going to warp to the kiln of the first flame. And so for this one, we're going to activate the summon sign of the Firekeeper. That is right next to the bonfire. And as I said, there are two endings that you can trigger from the Firekeeper summon sign. I will cover both of them. Now note that only one of them gives you a trophy. The other one does not give you a trophy. In fact, if you do the other one and you don't already have the trophy from the first Firekeeper ending, you're not going to get the trophy. So what happens here is you have a decision at the end of this cutscene. And at the very end of the cutscene, you actually have control of yourself for a brief moment, and you can choose to kill the Firekeeper or let her live. Now, to get the trophy, you have to let her live, but if you do choose to kill her, you will get a separate ending. So we're going to cover both of those. First one, we're going to let her live, get the trophy. Second time, we're going to kill her. That's going to get the separate ending, but you do not get a trophy for that one. Even if you don't already have the trophy from the first Firekeeper ending that I'm going to show you, you will not pop the trophy if you kill her at all. And so we're going to cover both of those. So let's summon the Firekeeper. So if you are not reloading your save, if you're doing 3 straight playthroughs, I would recommend not doing the ending where you kill the Firekeeper, because you will not get a trophy for that and you have to do an extra playthrough. If you're reloading your save, you should be fine.
The first flame quickly fades. Darkness will shortly settle. But one day, tiny flames will dance across the darkness. Like embers linked by lords past.
Okay, so here's where you'd be able to run around and kill her if you wanted to. When you hear the sound go, you see I can run around. I'm not going to kill her here, but you could to trigger the other ending.
Ashen One, hearest thou my voice still?
All right, so for that, we get the end of fire. Now, this is similar to letting the fire fade in other Dark Souls games. So even though we are not linking the fire, there's still potential for it to be linked later by somebody else, and the cycle will continue thusly. All right, we're also going to quit out of the credits here. Hit no for Journey 2. And now we're going to reload the save for the next ending. All right, so now we're going to trigger the third of 4 endings. This is going to be the other side of the Firekeeper ending where we kill her at the end of the cutscene. Let's travel back to the killing of the first flame. So much like the previous ending that we just watched, we are going to trigger this next ending by interacting with the Firekeeper summon sign out in front of the boss room. Or inside the boss room next to the bonfire, rather. Summon the Firekeeper, watch the cutscene. As soon as the sound cuts out, you'll kind of notice the sound cuts out. You'll have the opportunity to move around. You can press R1 to swing your sword and you will kill the Firekeeper.
The first flame quickly fades. Darkness will shortly settle. But one day, tiny flames will dance across the darkness. Like embers linked by lords past.
All right, so now we will be able to move. And you can kill the Firekeeper.
Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be Cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
All right, and so that is, you can consider it the evil ending, so to speak, or a bad ending. We don't leak the fire. We don't let the firekeeper take it. It's kind of the greedy ending, so to speak. All right, so finally we're going to do the fourth ending. All right, welcome back. So now we're going to trigger the final ending, and for that we have to heal the dark sigils at the firekeeper. And again, the reason why we're able to do this is because we got the firekeeper's soul at the top of the tower in Firelink Shrine. We gave it to the firekeeper here. And so now we can heal the dark sigil. This is going to cost us 625,000 souls. So we don't have that yet, but I'm going to sell some soul items here to make up the difference that we don't have. I sell all of these. Let's see, need an extra 100K. There we go, that'll do. So I happen to have enough soul items to make up the difference. Again, I said in the last episode, that is why I did not spend my souls after Madir or Gale or after the soul of Cinder, because I knew I needed a ton of souls in order to cure the Dark Sigil. If you don't have enough souls, I would suggest keeping the Covetous Silver Serpent Ring +3 on, which I'm going to go ahead and put my Estus ring back on, and the Shield of Want, which I'm going to go ahead and put my regular shield, the Grass Crest shield, back on. If you have those two on, plus the Symbol of Avarice, you're going to be getting near double souls. So if you have that actually might be more than double souls. If you have the +3 version of the Silver Serpent Ring and the Shield of Want on and the Symbol of Avarice, if you have all three of those on, the farming location that I would recommend for getting the most souls quickly is if you warp back to the Grand Archives and go to that rooftop where you fight the 3 gold winged knights. You will get probably close to 100,000 souls per run for doing that. So you won't need to do that very many times to heal your Dark Sigils. Alternatively, since we have to go to New Game Plus anyways, get all the way through New Game Plus to get the rings that are exclusive to New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus for the Platinum, if you're going for that Platinum trophy, you can just take the normal ending and your New Game Plus run through without having to farm for souls right now. But since I want to show you all of the endings in one playthrough, I am getting the number of souls that I need to heal the Dark Sigils. I'm just giving you multiple ways of going about it, and you can pick which one suits you best.
Ashen One, if when thou peerest upon the further, then I am of doubt.
Did not mean to do a gesture there, but hey, whatever. All right, let's heal the Dark Sigil. Our hollowing has been reversed. Our Dark Sigil has been healed. So just to confirm, we can go back and you'll see none of those Dark Sigils are in our inventory anymore. So now when we go back to the Kiln of the First Flame, when we interact with the bonfire, instead of getting the Lord of Hollows ending, we're just going to get the normal Link the Fire ending. All right, so that is the standard Link the Flame ending. If you notice in this ending, the flame seemed a lot weaker than it once was. And when you link the flame in Dark Souls 1, I mean, it consumes your entire body. It consumes the entire area. It's a much more powerful flame. And so I don't know if this is signifying that no matter what you do, the Age of Fire is waning, even if you choose to link it or not. But that is kind of the, I guess we would call the default ending of the game. If you don't do any side quests or anything else, that's the ending that you're going to get. So that being said, that concludes Dark Souls 3, at least the initial playthrough. If you do not have aspirations for the Platinum Trophy, your journey ends here. If you do want the Platinum Trophy, buckle up. There is quite a bit of farming ahead. So the game plan from here is I will cover all of the farming required to level up the covenants needed for rings and spells that we have left that are required for trophies. That is going to require there are several covenants that do require farming those covenant items for. So as I said, I'll cover each of those. And then additionally, there are rings that are exclusive to New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus that I'm going to cover as well. In typical fashion, what I've done for the other Dark Souls walkthrough series is when it comes to the New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus playthroughs, I typically live stream those. At this point, that's going to be the plan for this series as well. To live stream those New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus playthroughs to pick up those last rings that we're going to need for that trophy. I would recommend doing all of your farming in base New Game rather, because the enemies are going to be weaker and your farming process will go by, I would say, considerably quicker than if you did it in New Game Plus or New Game Plus Plus. So just go ahead and do that before you move on to your second journey if you are going for that Platinum Trophy. And we'll see you in the next episode for that, when we start our farming journey. And again, I have to say thank you guys so much. If you followed all the way to the end here, it has been a long journey, but it has been a blast, and it has been my honor to lead you through this game. So I appreciate you very much for entrusting me, of all people, with your playthrough. And I hope you've had as much fun playing the game as I've had making this walkthrough. It's been a really good time. So until next time, kick back and relax and enjoy the credits.